Deadlines create pressure. That's their most immediate and visible effect. They give negotiations a sense of urgency and direction, and in many situations they are necessary. Projects need closure, resources are limited, and decisions can't be postponed indefinitely. At the same time, deadlines are one of the most misunderstood elements in negotiation, because they're often treated as absolute fact rather than as signals that maybe need interpretation. Or indeed negotiation. One of the most common confusions is between urgency and importance. Once a deadline is mentioned, attention narrows. What felt negotiable a moment earlier suddenly feels fixed. People stop asking whether the decision itself is sound and start focusing on whether it can be made in time. The deadline does not change the substance of the deal, but it changes how that substance is perceived. That's easy to observe in everyday situations. Insurance renewals at the end of the year, expiring offers, or messages marked urgent late on a Friday afternoon all create the same internal reaction. Act now or miss out. The pressure feels real, even when the underlying situation is more flexible than it appears. The assumption quickly forms that if there's no immediate response, the opportunity will disappear. In business discussions, deadlines often arrive through the other side. A customer sets a date, an offer is said to be valid only for a short period, or a decision is required before the end of the month, quarter, or even year. Sometimes these deadlines reflect genuine constraints. Just as often, they are passed on from internal reporting cycles, budget processes, or performance targets. By the time they reach the negotiation table, they sound firm, even when they're not. I find that people's behaviour changes noticeably once a deadline is introduced. Conversations speed up. People reply more quickly, sometimes without fully thinking things through. Questions that might slow the process down could disappear. Rational evaluation gives way to emotional pressure, and the fear of losing out starts to dominate. A common unspoken assumption emerges: if we don't react now, the deal's gone. This pressure isn't limited to sales situations, it also shows up in scheduling and process decisions. Being offered a single appointment slot early Monday morning at the other end of the country, for example, can create the sense that there is no alternative. The time constraint appears external and unavoidable. Only later does it become clear that the urgency was more about convenience, habit, or persuasion rather than absolute necessity. Deadlines can also distort behaviour internally. When turnover targets need to be met by the end of a month or a quarter, activity increases rapidly, calls are made, offers are pushed out, and decisions are accelerated. From the outside, this looks like momentum. In reality, it can be actionism, movement driven by pressure rather than clarity. The deadline becomes the goal rather than the quality of the decision made under it. What makes deadlines so powerful is that they feel objective. Dates on a calendar appear neutral and factual, yet their influence lies less in their immovability and more in how they shape perception. Some deadlines truly are fixed, others are negotiable, adjustable, or simply less consequential than they first appear. The difficulty is that under pressure, these distinctions blur. Seen this way, deadlines are not just tools for ending negotiations. They are part of the psychological environment in which negotiations unfold. They compress thinking, heighten emotion, and encourage premature closure. Understanding their effect means recognizing that feeling rushed is not the same as something being urgent, and that not every deadline deserves the authority it claims.